Good evening. The battle over bike lanes has taken a turn with new amendments to legislation that may limit people's ability to take legal action if they get injured on the road.
The legislation would apply to riders on roads like Bloor, University and Yonge after the province removes the lanes. CTV's Mike Walker is live tonight with the latest. Mike.
Well, Michelle, Nathan, the government introduced the amendments yesterday. Critics and cycling advocates are slamming it, calling it undemocratic. Today, the Premier was defending his government's plan. As the Ford government fast-tracks its proposed legislation to remove bike lanes from major city streets, concern is mounting among cyclists.
Very dangerous.
Now the government added an amendment that will prevent people from suing the province if a cyclist is injured or killed after the bike lanes are removed.
It leaves a lot of people who choose to ride unprotected if they do have an injury, especially if they're ripping up bike lanes that are actually have been created to protect our safety.
Depends on individual accidents, I believe.
The amendment introduced at a committee yesterday states that after the lanes are removed, claims arising from collisions between motor vehicles, cyclists, or pedestrians are not claims of negligence.
People are going to get injured, people are going to get killed, families are going to be devastated, and we want to preemptively wash our hands of responsibility for that.
Lawyer and cycling advocate David Shelnut calls the legislation undemocratic. He argues the province could be held liable.
It wouldn't make sense to allow that for your neighbor who did something dangerous to you, or a motorist or a police officer, to be insulated from repercussions of causing harm to people. So why can the government do it?
At an unrelated event,
how do you explain the amendment that protects the province from lawsuits around injuries or deaths?
The Premier was repeatedly asked by reporters about the legal protection.
We want to keep everyone safe.
Doug Ford didn't directly answer those questions, instead repeated his government's reasoning to remove the bike lanes in order to ease gridlock.
Do you know who I want to keep safe too? When the firefighters jump in their trucks and they're trying to go down University and they're jammed behind traffic. They can't get there to save lives.
Critics say it's concerning the government is attempting to remove itself from any responsibility.
Sends a message that they know full well that removing the bike lanes will increase the number of injuries and deaths on our streets. And instead of tackling the issues we have on our streets around safety, they are taking one step away from it and saying it's not our problem.
What I'm concerned most is the safety.
Today, the mayor said she hopes the city and province can find common ground on the issue.
As more and more people cycle, you look at the numbers of bike share. We want to keep the roads safe for them and to the driver. Let's continue to look at the data.
The province maintains cyclists should stay on secondary roads. The opposition anticipates legal challenges, a possibility, says Shelnut, as he and other lawyers are reviewing the amendments. Now, the legislation with the amendment still has to pass a third reading, which is expected to happen given the Ford government's majority, and that could happen sometime next week. Reporting live, I'm Mike Walker. Michelle, back to you.
Thank you, Mike. And just ahead, we're learning more about that dramatic crash between a stolen car and a TTC bus earlier this week. Tonight, police have charged 3 men and shed some light on where and how that vehicle was stolen. The strike by Canada Post employees is entering its second week. Local labor groups held a solidarity rally today.
Well, that strike is having impacts on small businesses, some of whom are now having to make alternate arrangements for the Christmas season. CTV's Beth McDonnell is live tonight with more. Beth.
Nathan, Canada Post says it's lost more than $3 billion since 2018, and a new model with delivery 7 days a week is essential. Meanwhile, here on the picket line, and those who rely on the service are stressed. At Doll Factory by Damsels in Leslieville, beautiful clothes inside packages that were en route to customers are stuck in the mail during the strike.
We have several $1,000s worth of parcels that are just out in the abyss, or as I like to say, being held hostage for their negotiations. And it's totally not fair to use small business as their hostage negotiations.
For owners Kelly Freeman and Rory Lindo, the busy Christmas shopping season includes online orders. On top of the business frustrations, Lindo's passport that was put in the mail for renewal is missing.
I'm traveling December 23rd. So thanks, Canada Post. Maybe if you would have let me know prior to me putting it in the mail, I would have chosen a different type of service. But now I'm left wondering, where's my passport?
Canada Post negotiate! Canada Post negotiate!
Not far away, outside one of Toronto's largest Canada Post facilities, workers held a solidarity rally as morale for some on the picket line slumps. Joanne Ferroni has been with Canada Post for 39 years.
But it's very stressful for every individual. I mean, we got to get back inside.
The work stoppage has entered its second week. Members are concerned about wages keeping up with the cost of living, saying new carriers make $22 an hour, and where the strike could be headed.
We're very concerned at what the government's position is. We're asking the government not to legislate us, not to mandate us back to work. We want a fair negotiated contract at the bargaining table.
In a statement, Canada Post says it has continued to put forward offers that protect and enhance what's important to our current employees. We've offered competitive wage increases, 11.5% over 4 years, and additional paid leave, while protecting the defined benefit pension and job security provisions. Back at Doll Factory by Damsels, adapting has been on order. The store says UPS, while more expensive to ship out of Ontario, is offering competitive rates.
In the past, we kind of chose to stay loyal to Canada Post because I believe in a national postal system, but, you know, I'm losing my loyalty.
In a time when people expect their purchases quickly, Canada Post isn't delivering. Some on the picket line tell me they completely understand Canada Post needs to adapt, but they want a fair deal. Reporting live, I'm Beth McDonnell. Michelle, back to you.
Thank you, Beth. A live look outside now. Cloudy conditions and the potential for rain on what is a busy Friday night in the city. Jessica Smith is down amidst the buildings there outside Rogers Centre, where Taylor Swift takes the stage once again for Show 5. Another 3.5-hour spectacle for fans. Jess, how's the mood tonight?
The mood is electric, honestly. I know it is November, and November is finally Novembering when it comes to the weather, but people don't seem to mind. I'm here with Dora and Melanie. You guys are in some custom fits. I need to know either your favorite song or your favorite era.
Favorite song, Just. Favorite song, Ready for It.
So what inspired your looks? Obviously custom and matching fits.
Reputation era.
Oh my gosh. How excited are you guys to go in and like the sensitive community is just so welcoming. How excited are you?
On a scale of 1 to 10, about 45.
I like that number. Well, enjoy yourselves. Have a fabulous evening. And the weather, honestly, for people who are out, they can rock their fits. It's not, honestly, it's been worse. It has been worse, and November is finally doing what it's supposed to when it comes to the forecast. So I feel like it's not so bad. Overall tonight, as people make their way in towards the show, it is going to remain relatively comfortable, fairly seasonal, even just above as we make our way through the rest of the evening. Now, we're sitting kind of around 6 degrees around the Golden Horseshoe, a fairly moderate northerly wind, and it is going to stay kind of cool, but you know what? We're staying above seasonal. Tonight, dropping down to about 3 degrees. There's still the chance of some active weather, but overall, it's not so bad. And I feel like people don't mind the weather. Come on in. Hello. Oh, my God. Yes, I do. This is like a little bit of a reunion here. I have to show off your outfit, though, because you look fabulous.
On my era, so I had to go with all of
You just do all of them, and there's a little tiny one here, too.
This is my friend Linnea.
Well, Linnea, enjoy the show tonight. We're going to send things back inside. I'm going to have a little... Oh, my God. It's so nice to see you. We'll send things back into the studio.
Thanks to all of you. Oh, how fun. We'll catch back with Jess a little later. And still ahead, the holiday ride program is now in full effect across the GTA. Coming up, the message to drivers from police ahead of the Christmas season.
3 men are now facing a number of charges after a crash between a stolen vehicle and a TTC bus early Monday. The crash happened just before 2 a.m. at Bathurst and Wilson. Toronto police now saying that vehicle was stolen earlier this month from Brampton when a driver was cut off by a black sedan and carjacked. Police say the stolen BMW was then used in 2 break-and-enters earlier this month. On Tuesday, police executed search warrants in Toronto, York, and Durham. They say a replica handgun was found. A 19-year-old man from Toronto, a 33-year-old man from Markham, and a 31-year-old man from Pickering are now all facing charges of possession of property obtained by crime. Court records show 3 of the 4 people in the stolen vehicle at the time of the crash were out on bail.
York Regional Police have issued a warrant for a suspect previously arrested on firearm charges who's accused of removing his GPS monitoring device. Back in June, we told you about the results of Project Lookout. Police arrested 20 people in connection with what they called a large-scale gun and trafficking network in the GTA. While out on bail, 25-year-old Tyrone Lothian is accused of removing his GPS monitoring device a few weeks ago. He was last seen in Brampton. Anyone with information about his whereabouts is asked to contact investigators.
Here in the city, detectives are asking for your help finding next of kin of a man who died a few months ago. Police shared these images of 60-year-old Silbert Blackwood, who also went by the name Anthony Black. He died on September 13th at a home near Driftwood and Grand Ravine Drive. Police say they've made extensive efforts to try and contact next of kin to inform them of his death, but haven't succeeded. They say Blackwood emigrated from Jamaica in the 80s and may still have family there. They're asking anyone who can help out to get in touch.
The rising cost of policing in rural Ontario is leaving some municipalities scrambling to find extra cash. The bills handed down by Ontario Provincial Police for 2025 represent a jump of more than 30% in some cases, and at least one municipality is facing more than double the previous price tag. Local leaders say they now have to consider tax hikes or spending cuts to offset these costs. A spokesperson for the Office of the Ontario Solicitor General says they'll work with municipalities to make sure they aren't negatively financially impacted. The annual holiday ride program has begun with police services across the GTA.
And as CTV's John Musselman reports, the mission to stop impaired driving is an emotional one for a former York Regional Police officer.
York Regional Police officially launched their holiday ride campaign today. Like dozens of forces across the province, police will be pulling over motorists in spot checks looking for alcohol or drug-impaired drivers.
25 years ago when I started, I was optimistic that I'd see the end of impaired operation at some point in time in my career. And while I still have some years left to go, to this point I'm wrong. My optimism 25 years ago hasn't panned out. We still have a job to do.
This event hits close to home for retired York Regional Police Superintendent Graham Turrell. His son-in-law, Stuart Ellis, was killed by a drunk driver in a devastating crash in 2017. It happened near Highway 48 and Davis Drive. Ellis was on his way to work as an electrician when his car was hit in a head-on crash. The impaired 19-year-old driver was convicted and sentenced to 5 years in prison. Ellis was a married father of 2 children.
We realized that there's going to be a lot of firsts that the kids are going to have to go through that we had to be there for. School, the birth. Unfortunately, my youngest grandson never got to meet his dad. My oldest grandson has some vague memories of him. We try to keep the memory alive at home of Stuart.
If I could have a Christmas wish come true, it would be for every victim of impaired driving to not have to suffer as they do, and that there not be any more victims of impaired driving.
Officials in York Region say 1,100 people have been arrested for impaired driving so far this year, and 3 people have died. Police are reminding people to make the right choices during the holidays. Take a cab, Uber, or Lyft, use public transit, or have a designated driver to make sure everyone gets home safely. John Musselman, CTV News.
More Ontario students will be getting breakfast and lunch at school. The province has signed a deal for millions of dollars in funding from the federal government.
As a teacher, I remember well when kids don't have full bellies, when they can't hear the teacher because of the grumbling in their tummy, when they're worried and low energy and not able to focus in class because they're hungry. We all suffer, not just them, but the future they're building and the future contributions to Canada that we know they want to be able to make. That's why investing in school foods is about being there for everyone.
Ontario will receive $108.5 million over 3 years. Trudeau says that means healthy meals will be made available to 160,000 additional students this school year, and 2-child families will save $800 in grocery bills each year. Provincial officials say they're pleased to partner with Ottawa in this historic investment that will support their academic success and overall well-being. Ontario is the 3rd province to access some of the $1 billion set aside by Ottawa following pressure from the federal NDP. Ontario's program currently serves more than 600,000 children.
There were mixed reactions today to Ottawa's announcement of a GST holiday and rebate.
Canadians will get a temporary tax break, but there are questions about its economic impact. CTV's Rachel Aiello has the story.
I'll let the bankers worry about the economy.
A day after catching Canadians' attention with a holiday tax break, new scrutiny on the cost.
What the economy needs is for people to be able to afford their groceries.
Justin Trudeau promising a sales tax reprieve on items such as snacks, kids' clothes, toys, and takeout could help boost consumer spending heading into the new year. But the 2-month GST and HST pause comes with a price tag of $1.6 billion. And the rebate for more than 18 million workers will see $4.7 billion in checks sent out this spring. Both measures costing the government and taxpayers $6.3 billion.
Will you compensate the provinces for lost revenue?
Concerned an HST cut could result in a hit to provincial revenues, this Liberal Premier wants clarity.
They can't take $62 million out of the New Brunswick revenues without an engagement with us.
The Parliamentary Budget Officer was already warning the Liberals may be blowing through their own fiscal guardrails, sparking concerns over whether borrowing more money now is best.
A 2-month temporary tax trick will not compensate for a 61-cent a litre carbon tax.
Economists say the measures may increase the chances the Bank of Canada sticks to a smaller interest rate cut next month. But this tax policy expert doesn't see much of an inflationary or stimulus effect from Trudeau's plan.
Affordability, sure, they can afford to spend, but the question is this a good way to spend an additional $6.3 billion?
The Prime Minister is asserting the cost of living package is the right economic move and has dispatched his ministers across the country to sell it. Rachel Aiello, CTV News, Ottawa.
In Minnesota, 2 men have been found guilty of human smuggling between Canada and the U.S. In one tragic case, the bodies of a couple and their 2 children were found in Manitoba, close to the border. They had attempted to cross into the U.S. during a blizzard in 2022. Today, Harsh Kumar Patel and Steve Shand were convicted on all 4 counts they faced. Prosecutors argued they were all part of an international smuggling ring and said people from India were brought to Canada on student visas, then sent on foot across the border.
More than 300 delegates from 60 countries have gathered for the Halifax International Security Forum. And on day 1, Canada's defense minister confirmed that an advanced surface-to-air missile system promised to Ukraine has arrived.
These NASAMS will help strengthen Ukraine's air defense systems against the destructive air attacks on its military sites, on its critical infrastructure, and on its population.
Canada purchased the NASAM missile system in partnership with the U.S. nearly 2 years ago. The donation is valued at $406 million. Blair also sought to defend the government's military spending as pressure grows for NATO members to meet the threshold of 2% GDP. An influential American senator told delegates Canada has to do better.
In Ottawa, Freedom Convoy protester Pat King's been found guilty of mischief.
Stop pushing. Move out of the way. Move out of the way.
King left court today following the judge's ruling. He was found guilty on 5 counts that included counseling others to obstruct police and disobeying a court order. The defense argued he was peacefully protesting during the 2022 demonstration in the nation's capital. But the Crown alleged the Alberta resident was a protest leader who was instrumental in the disruption it caused the city and people who lived and worked nearby.
A Toronto man traveled to the edge of space today on the journey of a lifetime.
2, 1, ignition.
A Blue Origin rocket lifted off from West Texas with 6 people on board. As in previous flights, today's crew soared above the boundary of space. One of the astronauts is Henry Wolfond, chairman and CEO of Bayshore Capital here in Toronto. He spoke after returning to Earth this morning.
It's perspective that adds to the mission that I'm on to combat hate and anti-Semitism. And seeing the world from up that high where you don't see the borders, you don't see the divisions, you don't see all of the lines that divide us, where we hate each other. We're all one people. We're on this very fragile, small planet.
What a perspective. This is video of Wolfond exiting the capsule after this morning's 10-minute space tourism flight. During the journey, the crew experienced several minutes of weightlessness. It was the 9th human flight for the new Shepherd program and the 28th in its history.
It's still just over a month to Christmas, but Hong Kong kicked off the holiday season with a bang. A fireworks display lit up the sky over Victoria Harbour as crowds gathered along the waterfront to watch the show. The 10-minute spectacle was accompanied by Christmas songs and was the first of 4 displays planned for the holiday season. The tourism board is hoping to attract more visitors over the festive season. The Christmas campaign is beginning a week earlier than last year in Hong Kong.
Coming up, Swifties have long touted Taylor's songs as the soundtrack to their lives, but did you know they're also being used to save lives? Still ahead, tapping into Swift's music for CPR.
And I'm Pat Foran. Coming up on Consumer Alert, Black Friday is still a week away, but many of the sales have already started. And one of the most popular items people buy is a big screen TV. Sets continue to get larger and drop in price. We have a preview. That story is just ahead.
And after such a warm start to the month of November, we are finally seeing a return to more seasonal weather with daytime highs back into the single-digit range. Coming up, we'll have a full look at your long-range forecast as we head into the weekend. And stay with us. We have another full night of great shows for you right here on CTV.
Black Friday has become the busiest shopping day of the year in Canada, surpassing Boxing Day. And it's actually next Friday, but many sales you've probably noticed have already begun.
Electronics are always a top category for Black Friday sales, and that includes shoppers looking for a deal on a big screen TV. Here's Pat Foran and Consumer Alert. Pat.
Thanks, Nathan and Michelle. There are some major sales taking place on big screen TVs, and sets continue to get larger and drop in price. While the average set purchase used to be 55 to 65 inches, more people are now upgrading to 75 and even 85-inch TVs. Many stores that sell electronics find that television sets have become a favorite purchase during Black Friday sales. The deals have already started, and many customers buying a new set are ready for an upgrade.
The really big news for Black Friday this year is that we're seeing extra large TVs with screens 98 and even 100 inches at shockingly low prices.
As television prices drop, more consumers are moving towards larger sets. 55 and 65-inch TVs have been the norm for many shoppers, but this year you can find 75 and 85-inch sets for less than $1,500. With Black Friday sales, you can even find some 85-inch sets for just over $1,000. When shopping for a TV, there are some too-good-to-be-true deals you may want to avoid. Those rock-bottom models from lesser-known brands have low prices, but may not be worth the money.
Keep in mind, you'll be watching that new TV for years. If you're unhappy with the features or the picture quality, you may really regret not spending a little bit more money to get something better.
According to recent tests by Consumer Reports, if you want the best value in a TV, you should choose one of these 3 brands. Researchers found the best performing televisions are from Sony, Samsung, and LG. They earn top scores in almost every category.
While it can be tempting to get a very inexpensive TV from a lesser-known brand, major brands tend to do better in our ratings and have higher reliability scores.
OLED TVs, known for their impressive picture quality, generally dominate Consumer Reports ratings, and many are now at their lowest prices of the year. And when buying a TV, check store return policies carefully. Some may limit returns or charge restocking fees. Also, if you buy a TV online and change your mind, you could have to pay the shipping charges to send it back. On your side, I'm Pat Foran.
If you have a consumer story idea, email us at alert@ctv.ca.
All right, it's Friday night, and you know where the place to be is.
Oh, yes. Jess Smith is outside Rogers Centre. You know what? There's tonight's concert, then there's tomorrow's. It's going to kind of be sad when she leaves because, Jess, you've talked to so many fabulous Swifties. It's been a real fun ride in the city.
It really has, and I feel like I went from being a Swiftie light fan to maybe a Swiftie super fan from just being down here and meeting so many people. I have Luca and Caroline here. They're from Michigan. They're still trying to get some tickets. I'm hopeful for you guys. So what is it about Taylor that brought you guys all the way down here? I just love her.
I just love her too. I went to her show when she was in Detroit, and it was like literally the best night of my life. Like, I already gave up all my Christmas presents.
Well, I am so hopeful for you guys. They need 2 tickets. I feel like a lot of people need 2 tickets, but I am hopeful for you guys. Thank you so much, and good luck with the rest of your evening. You still got tonight and tomorrow night, so I have hope. It's a little chilly outside. You guys are very brave, but at least you have jackets on. It is November in Toronto after all, so this is pretty seasonal, all things considered. And it is staying above seasonal tonight. So if you're out later on, you'll need some layers, but at least it is relatively comfortable. Now, temperature-wise, we're sitting at about 3 degrees tonight. Well, it should be around -1. So overall, yes, it is above seasonal, but no, it is not warm. But we have a northerly flow to the wind, adding that bit of a bite to the air. Into the day tomorrow, back into the double digits, but just briefly, we hold on for just one more day, and then we return to a much more seasonal point. We've seen this low kind of swirling around us. The bulk of it has pushed its way south and east, but behind it, those blue dotted lines, those troughs, that's brought the chance of showers throughout the day today, and it will linger into your weekend as well. Timing things up for the rest of our night, for all the Swifties outside and inside, it stays relatively dry as you make your way home. Your Saturday morning a little cloudy, and then as we head into the afternoon, still watching for the chance of a few passing showers. Now, into your Saturday evening, it is a little cool out there, and looking ahead to Sunday, although we don't see brilliant sunshine, we do get a bit of a break from some of the clouds early on. Into your Sunday, again, not too much of a change, but we are holding on at a fairly steady point. We do sit seasonal into our Sunday. Looking ahead to the beginning of next week, we sit at 6 degrees, so right where we should be. And then your eyes do not deceive you. That is a rain-snow mix as we head in towards our Tuesday, Wednesday. Because we're still on the positive side of things, we're not likely to see that accumulate on the ground just yet. But keep in mind, it will definitely impact your commute to and from your destination as we head through your Tuesday and Wednesday. And those overnight lows, they are coming with wind chills, and that carries us into our Thursday and Friday. So as you prepare yourself for work, the kids for school, you're going to want to start thinking about those more winter-like layers because you're going to need them. But as we head in towards the end of the month, overall, it has been a above seasonal start to the month of November, and it's a below seasonal end to the month of November. Tonight we are going to see temperatures a little cooler, a bit of a gustier northwesterly wind, but I don't think any of the Swifties out here mind at all. And we're holding off with rain for the majority of our evening, so that's some good news when it comes to people spending some time outside. There are still thousands of people making their way in, also hundreds of people hoping for tickets. I'm hopeful for all the folks still waiting to go inside to see Lady Swift do her thing. But overall tonight, it is definitely the coldest night we've had so far when it comes to people coming down to see Taylor Swift. So gloves, a good idea. The layers, a good idea. But at least the rain is holding off for the people who are still waiting for tickets. Michelle and Nathan, for now, I will send things back inside, and I'm going to keep scoping out for all these amazing outfits and more bracelets.
Love the sparkle. Thank you, Jess. We'll catch up with you later. Also tonight, the new COVID-19 numbers show the province is moving in the right direction, but Public Health Ontario is still raising concerns about vaccinations. We'll explain. Her music is popular all around the world, as evidenced by the number of people turning out to see her shows here in Toronto.
But according to the Red Cross, some of Taylor Swift's songs may also help save lives. CTV's health reporter Pauline Chan explains.
Ready to go. You shouldn't need music to do CPR in an emergency, but for training, it helps to have a particular song to help you keep the right speed for chest compressions. And in CPR training, as on the radio, Taylor Swift is at the top of the list.
Taylor Swift is one of the bigger ones, obviously, that's on there. But there's Queen, there's Phil Collins, there's Genesis, there's a wide variety of music. And the key thing is as long as it's between 100 to 120 beats a minute.
Red Cross Master Instructor Michael Nemeth says a U.S. university has been listing songs suitable for CPR practice for several years now.
And she actually has about 5 or 6 different songs in every one of her Aerosol albums, so there's a wide variety of songs that you can pick from.
Nemeth says many people are hesitant to get involved when a person stops breathing in front of them.
A lot of the myths that are out there is that I could cause them harm. You can't cause them harm because someone in cardiac arrest is at the worst point that they can be. you're not going to hurt them anymore. You cannot catch any infectious diseases from someone because you're not doing mouth-to-mouth on them. You're just doing chest compressions on that person. The Good Samaritan Act protects you, so there's no chance of you being sued at all.
Getting someone to call 911 and starting chest compressions immediately can stop the brain from dying, which is what happens without blood flow. And no matter where you are, it's always good to have these first aid skills ready.
Even just going out on a Saturday night to get dinner before you go to the Taylor Swift concert.
You can go to the Red Cross website for more information about CPR training. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
The province is planning to once again expand health supports for firefighters. If the proposal becomes law, firefighters will gain easier access to coverage through the Workplace Safety and Insurance Board for certain types of cancers. The Ministry of Labour says firefighters die of cancer at a rate up to 4 times higher than the general population. The changes outlined today would ease requirements for kidney and colorectal cancers to be considered work-related. This follows a similar move undertaken by the Ford government in 2021.
New figures show hundreds of Ontarians continue to be hospitalized each week with COVID-19. Public Health Ontario released data from the week ending November 16th. During that period, 11.4% of lab tests came back positive for the virus. That's an ongoing drop from weeks before, but still considered moderate in terms of level of spread. 674 hospital beds were occupied by COVID patients in that time, and 8 died. With updated COVID-19 vaccines available, medical experts say they're the best way to remain protected against more severe outcomes.
To entertainment news next. Kendrick Lamar surprised fans with a brand new album today.
The little ideas I told made people go rogue until God gave me a big one.
The Grammy winner dropped the 12 tracks on GNX today, marking his first full album release since 2022's Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. This follows a big summer for Lamar, including his rap battle with Drake and his hit single, Not Like Us. Several tracks feature vocals from SZA and production from Jack Antonoff.
Yo, make some noise if you're ready for the king himself, Tiesto!
And the Veld Music Festival has revealed its first set of performers for its 2025 edition, including Tiesto, Deadmau5, John Summit, and Dom Dalla. The dance music event takes place in Downsview Park August 1st through to the 3rd, with more performers still yet to be revealed.
The Just for Laughs Comedy Festival has set its official return dates in Montreal after this year's event was canceled. Earlier this year, the company behind the iconic gathering for comedians and comedy fans filed for creditor protection. It also laid off staff and called off the 2024 edition of the event, citing a difficult financial situation and changes in the business landscape. But organizers confirmed that Just for Laughs will be back in Montreal next summer, taking place July 16th through to the 27th. JFL's Toronto event has different organizers.
Hollywood insiders expect moviegoers will be out in force this weekend as films from 2 popular franchises hit theaters.
Come with me. What? To meet the wizard. Why couldn't tell me? This is your moment. I'm coming.
Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande star in Wicked Part 1. The beloved musical, which reframes the story of the witches and the Wizard of Oz, has made the leap to the big screen. Deadline projects it'll bring in as much as $150 million US over the weekend in North America. It's joined by Ridley Scott's Gladiator 2, starring Paul Mescal, Denzel Washington, and Pedro Pascal. The action sequel is on track for as much as $66 million in ticket sales.
After the break, going up in smoke. After dozens of police raids and seizures, Fun Guys is closing all 30 of its magic mushroom stores in Ontario.
Hi, Toronto. I'm Teddy Wilson.
And I'm Nicole Cervinas. Welcome to Things to Know TO.
Each week, this show shines a spotlight on a wide variety of local businesses, services, events, and initiatives from across the Greater Toronto Area.
These companies are part of what makes Toronto one of the world's most vibrant cities and a great place to live, work, and play.
Join us every week on Saturday mornings for Things to Know TO.
And don't forget to visit our website, thingstoknowto.ca, to check out all of our great content.
People are going to get killed, families are going to be devastated, and we want to preemptively wash our hands of responsibility for that.
Updating our top stories as the Ontario government fast-tracked legislation to remove bike lanes from city streets, There are new concerns about amendments that would limit legal claims against the government. Cyclists say they aren't giving up their fight against the bill.
We're very concerned at what the government's position is. We're asking the government not to legislate us, not to mandate us back to work. We want a fair negotiated contract at the bargaining table.
As the strike by Canada Post workers enters its second week, strikers held a solidarity rally today. Some small businesses say they feel caught in the middle and are worried about ensuring their deliveries can get to customers in time for Christmas.
It's perspective that adds to the mission that I'm on to combat hate and seeing the world from up that high.
And a Toronto man reached new heights today on board a Blue Origin rocket that soared above the boundary of space. Henry Wolfond is the chairman and CEO of Bayshore Capital. He was one of 6 people on board today's flight. The crew experienced several minutes of weightlessness on board the 28th flight in Blue Origin's history.
Remember to keep up to date day and night at ctvnewstoronto.ca, and you can download the CTV News app. If you have a news tip, photos, or video breaking news, also let us know.
Canadian stocks hit a new record as investors took a second look at some companies that have been out of favor this year. Andrew Bell of B&M Bloomberg has the latest business news.
Hello there. Toronto's composite stock index posted another record closing high, ending above 25,400. We saw gains in auto parts suppliers Magna and Linamar, both of which have come under pressure in 2024 amid disappointment over electric vehicle sales. And Sea-Doo maker BRP, which is being dragged lower by fears over recreational vehicle sales, also moved higher in early trading but later fell. Toronto's 21% advance this year has been fairly broad-based, with more than 3 stocks gaining for every one that has fallen year to date. In the U.S., where the S&P 500 index is up 25% in 2024, performance has been more narrowly concentrated in mega-cap tech stocks. Grocery seller Metro topped $89 in Toronto today to trade at a record high after rising 30% so far this year. Desjardins has a hold rating on the shares, but says that now the company is completing heavy investment in its supply chain and distribution, it can focus on efficiency gains and improving service to its store network. RBC also has a hold rating, but says the stock's premium valuation versus rivals, quote, reflects a long track record of consistent performance. And finally, banking can be a blood sport. Bloomberg says global lender HSBC has begun a high finance version of the Hunger Games by pitting senior bankers to compete against colleagues for who gets to keep their job. Staffers are preparing for betrayal, groveling, and burnout. Workplace experts say the best strategy here is to buttress internal support networks. Laszlo Bock, former human resources chief at Google, advises, quote, cultivate those relationships because you need to make sure your side of the story gets told. People will stab others in the back. The Canadian dollar changed hands at 71.54 US cents, down a fraction. West Texas Intermediate oil was at $71.24, up $1.14. Our latest fix on Western Canadian Select oil, $57.26, up $1.11. And the TSX Composite ended at its new record high of 25,444.28, up just over 53 points. That's the latest in business. I'm Andrew Bell of B&M Bloomberg.
The Business Report is brought to you by Canadian Western Bank, the bank built for business.
A battle is brewing between Ottawa and Facebook and Instagram's parent company, Meta. The company blocks news links to avoid being covered by the Online News Act. It would require Meta to pay media outlets for showing their content. But users have found other ways to share news, and the federal government says the CRTC should determine whether Meta's platforms are subject to the content law after all. The company filed a confidential response outlining its news blocking measures, but says it won't publicly disclose them. The Heritage Minister's office says that sends a, quote, troubling message.
Maple Leaf Foods, Inc. has launched a defamation lawsuit against Canada Bread Company and its parent company, Grupo Bimbo. The lawsuit comes after Canada Bread accused Maple Leaf of using it as a shield to avoid liability in an alleged bread price fixing scheme, which is the subject of 2 class action lawsuits and an ongoing Competition Bureau investigation. A spokesperson for Canada Bread said Maple Leaf's claims are without merit. The Competition Bureau began investigating in 2016 and alleging that at least $1.50 was added to the price of a loaf of bread over 16 years.
A company that sells so-called magic mushrooms, despite the drug being illegal, says it's closing all 30 of its stores in the province. Fun Guys says it will be shuttering all its brick-and-mortar locations, including 10 Toronto stores, on Monday. A spokesperson says the stores weren't making money due to frequent police raids over the sale of illegal products, but he says the retailer's website will continue to sell psilocybin.
We have an update from the very crowded Toronto Maple Leaf sick bay. The team placed Matthew Nyes on injured reserve. The forward fell hard to the ice after a big hit from Vegas defenseman Zach Whitecloud Wednesday night. He hasn't practiced since, but the coach says Nyes is showing signs of improvement. The 22-year-old will not play in Sunday's game against Utah. Nyes has 8 goals and 4 assists in 20 games this season. In a corresponding move, Toronto recalled Alex Nylander from the Marlies after signing him to a 1-year contract today.
Just ahead, big weekend ahead. Not only is Swift in town, so is Santa. Holiday cheer and sparkle converging in the downtown core. What to expect just ahead.
And a reminder, the CTV News at 6 podcast is available to download every weeknight. And a special hello to those of you listening to the newscast live on News Talk 1010. Well, some fans who've been to the Eras Tour in Toronto are going home with more than just memories.
That includes a 10-year-old from the Maritimes who now has a special souvenir thanks to a kind security guard. CTV's Emma Convoy reports.
I like the leather one.
It was an enchanted night at the Eras Tour for 10-year-old Annie Gallant. After a year of waiting for her first concert, on November 15th, she was ready for it.
Everybody, including me, we were dancing, we were singing.
Pure happiness, cheering in the second row.
She did really good performing. She did a lot of songs and it was really long. And you have the chance to sit, but nobody sits, and it's a really long concert, so it's like after your legs hurt.
As for the songs she knew,
probably all of them. The Lover album I knew every single word to every single song.
But Annie's favorite moment didn't happen on stage. After giving a friendship bracelet to a security guard, good karma came her way.
She was like right behind the security guard, so I was like looking there, and the security guard just like told me to come over. So I went over and she gave me a guitar pick.
Not just any guitar pick, but one of Taylor Swift's.
When I got the guitar pick, I didn't cry, but I was happy that I got it. I want to hold on to it forever.
She's been a fan since as long as she can remember.
She was a baby, and we'd put on Shake It Off, and she would just, her little eyes would light up, and she just adored it.
When you hear like the auto-tune and records, it's like you can still like her, but then once you see her live, it's like I feel like I like her more.
And a message from Annie to Taylor.
Thank you for the guitar pick, and I love you so much.
A memory she'll hold in her heart forever and always. Emma Convoy, CTV News, Timberley, Nova Scotia.
Well, crowds have been flocking into the city to see Taylor Swift. A celebrity of a different kind will be in the spotlight later this weekend.
Jolly St. Nick is coming to town for Toronto's annual Santa Claus Parade. The 120th original Santa Claus Parade is a long-standing tradition heading into the winter holiday season and is taking over downtown on Sunday afternoon. The parade kicks off at Christie Pitts at 12:30, heading east along Bloor, then winding its way through city streets to end at St. Lawrence Market. Organizers are expecting 750,000 people to attend in person and many others to tune into the official live stream on YouTube. Always a great event. More action downtown.
It's such an exciting weekend in the city. Jess, is everybody who has Swift tickets tonight in the Rogers Centre now?
For the most part, there's still some hopefuls out here trying to get tickets, but I feel like there's so much joy and so much energy around me. It's really helping to kind of keep the spirits up. I need to know favorite song and or era.
My favorite song is Long Live, and my favorite era is Speak Now.
My favorite song is Our Song, and my favorite era is Lovers Speak Now.
Favorite song is Mad Woman, and my favorite era is Folklore.
Oh my gosh, what about you?
My favorite song's also Our Song in 1989.
I feel like everybody out here has got such amazing energy and fabulous outfits. Honestly, we might have to trade jackets once this is all done, but I feel like it's probably pretty warm. What does it mean to be down here with your family and just kind of enjoying the energy?
It's been incredible. We don't have tickets, but we wanted to come down and get the experience, and everybody's having fun and they're happy, and that's the thing. It's all about the joy.
I love the joy, and you know what? The weather, it is what it is, right? But it is the end of November, so I feel like people are just trying their best. We're looking at for the Santa Claus Parade on Sunday. The weather is not too bad. So if you're going to go see Santa, there's Taylor Swift and Santa. They're both equally important. It's not too bad. As we head in towards the day tomorrow, if you're coming down for the concert tomorrow, 10 degrees throughout the day. Into our Sunday, a little cooler, but overall, we're having a good time down here. We're going to send it back inside to you. We'll say bye, everybody.
Bye.
See ya.
Have a great Friday night. That's it for us, but you can join Heather Butts tonight at 11 for CTV National News, followed by Zoraida Allman with your next local newscast at 11:30.
Meantime, our coverage continues anytime on CP24 and at ctvnewstoronto.ca.
For Jess Smith and the whole team here at CTV News, thanks for watching. Have a great night.
Yay. Girl, I wish I had tickets too.
Beautiful.